Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. Look what came in the mail yesterday. So pretty much like everyone else, I was pretty curious about the TirTir Mask Fit Cushion when that came out. I actually really do quite like a cushion type application. However, I have a little bit of an unusual undertone that's difficult to match in store, much less when ordering a foundation online. So because of that, I passed on the cushion foundation. And when they came out with the liquid, I was a little bit more interested because I know that if there's any discrepancies in the skin tone match, I can mix it. I don't terribly mind mixing simply because I pretty much do it every day. There are very few foundations that I have ever come across that I have not needed to mix a little bit of something into it in order to get me a good skin tone match on my very desaturated cool olive undertone. When I was considering picking up the cushion foundation, they were offering a few little sample packets on Amazon, and so I actually ordered some of those. And on trying those out, I found that the undertone on most of the shades was very yellow, even the ones that were labeled as neutral. So with that in mind, when I picked this one up, because I'm not sure that the shade range correlates exactly, I went ahead and picked up 25C Cool Taupe, and we're just gonna hope for the best. So this is in a very nice heavy frosted glass bottle. Honestly, it's giving high-end is what it is. So I picked this up off of Amazon. It retails for $27. I picked it up during the most recent Prime Days sale where it was $10 off. And to be perfectly honest, that's probably what convinced me to pull the trigger. Nothing gets me like a good sale. So I'm really hoping this actually doesn't look too bad through the bottle, but we won't know until I actually apply it. So is this a twist off or okay, it's got a pump. So the claims of this foundation are very conveniently on the back of the box. This is a skin adhering cover foundation offering long lasting breathable coverage with skincare ingredients for a flawless weightless finish. That all sounds fantastic. It also all sounds very much like the other foundations that are in my collection. So I don't know if this is going to offer anything new and revolutionary. Let's see. Prevents makeup smudging in masks and 72 hours long-lasting coverage. Okay, so I have been missing some sleep since I had my baby, but that is makeup on for 72 hours does not sound like a good idea to me, especially because my skin is kind of going through it right now, which is pretty normal for me immediately after having a baby. My hormones are all over the place, so I have actually layered up some more hydrating products on my skin, including this. This is the e.l.f. Skin Thirst Burst Drops. I guess this is a new release. I don't know. I don't keep on top of these things, but I got that in an Ipsy bag and I am actually quite liking it. So I have that on, as well as an Elemis moisturizer that is usually more of a, I usually use it more as a nighttime moisturizer, but because I knew that this was going to be more of a full coverage transfer proof situation, I felt that that was more appropriate just to kind of give this foundation a good shot on my skin. Let's just swatch it on my skin and we'll see if I need to mix anything in with it. I usually do need to mix. So I've got a couple pumps on the back of my hand there. It's looking a little saturated on my skin tone. A little bit, but actually that's not terrible. It's looking a little more yellow in real life than it's translating on camera. So I'm going to go ahead and take the risk of looking slightly orange. For science, we're just going to be applying it straight today. Generally speaking, and if I wear this again, I will probably be mixing in a blue mixer like this is the LA Girl foundation mixing pigment that you can pick up at Ulta, or there's also the Temp 2 foundation mixing drops that I really, really enjoy. I get those off of Amazon. We're just going to go in unmixed today and see what kind of coverage we can get. I'm going to use a sponge. I have already wetted this one. Yeah, it's reading a little more saturated and slightly more orange in real life than it is on the camera. I think it's just a lighting thing. It's got a little bit of a fragrance. I had to make sure it wasn't my sponge. But it's not an unpleasant scent and it's not overpowering at all. But I do notice it. Giving quite good coverage, and it is going a long way. Holy crud. Okay, that foundation has some excellent spread. I have not had to go back in for more product. Blend it down my neck a little bit because it's not an exact match. I am feeling a little orange here. But I do think that's something we can correct with other makeup. So it's not that big a deal. Okay, while that did travel a long way, I used everything that was on the back of my hand. And I think quite a lot of it got soaked up in the sponge here. I don't know if I would want to use a brush with this though. I'm getting really good coverage with this, but it doesn't feel heavy at all. And to be perfectly honest, it's not looking nearly as matte as I was expecting, although that may be the skincare that I chose. That covered everything quite well. And honestly, it went over my problem areas really, really nicely, which are the sides of my nose where I have some very, very deep pores, and also in between my eyebrows, which for whatever reason tends to look very heavy and cakey very easily. Then I generally tend to have a little bit more dryness around the mouth, but it's not picking up on anything. Gosh, that actually looks really nice. I don't know, what do you think? It's a very high level of coverage. That's just, it looks very skin-like and natural for something that's giving me such a high level of coverage. It's actually kind of freaking me out a little bit. It has blanked out, it has removed the redness, and it has covered my spots really, really well. But it doesn't look heavy at all. There's still a lot of luminosity left in this, but it's not feeling tacky. I don't know if this is the complete dry down though, so I want to leave it for about 10 minutes to see if it becomes more matte. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I went and I put a little bit of my Natasha Denona underneath my eyes, set that with a tiny bit of NARS light reflecting pressed powder in translucent crystal, and then I finished up, I did my under eye, what am I trying to say? I added some eyeshadow to my lower lash line. I am actually wearing the Huda Beauty Cool Matte Obsessions palette. I have not picked this up for a hot minute, and I really, really like this palette. I know this palette got kind of some mixed reviews, but I have really enjoyed it. So if this is lingering in your collection, maybe pull it out and play with it again, because I have forgotten how much I enjoyed this eyeshadow palette. As far as the foundation goes, I think it's fully dried down at this point. I'm not getting, it doesn't feel tacky to the touch at all. Shall we see if we get any transfer? Here's a white sheet of paper. I feel like I got just the slightest ghost of transfer there, but really not too bad at all. And I don't know, it may continue to dry down further as the day goes on. I don't know. I am not going to be wearing a mask to test that particular claim, but I do have plenty of children who will be more than happy to climb on me and try to mess up my makeup. So we'll see how that works out. I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup. I am going to be using this little Sephora contour stick. I picked this up during the last Sephora sale back in April. I didn't love it at first, but it has kind of grown on me. When I first started using it, I was switching over from mostly using my ABH contour stick in the shade Mink, and that is much more of a stiffer, drier texture. And this one is a lot more slippery and emollient, and I didn't love that at first because I felt like it was, I don't know, I felt like it was too slidey and I was having a difficult time controlling that. Since then, I have been using the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Contour and Bronzer, which blends out even more than this does. So coming back to this after using a liquid contour, I feel like I am doing a better job controlling the product. So I'm liking it a lot more than I initially did. And then if necessary, I can go back in with my foundation sponge just to soften the edges. Now my baby weight is going to be sticking around as long as I continue to breastfeed. I do not lose weight while breastfeeding. So we're just gonna fake it till we make it here with this jawline. Then for bronzer, I have actually been whipping out this thing, this monster of a palette. This is the entire Physicians Formula Muru Muru Butter Collection palette. And I am going to be using these two bronzers and mixing them together. I pulled this out to use these bronzers the other day, and I had forgotten. I had forgotten what a lovely formula these bronzers are. They are just so soft and blendable and just the perfect neutral tone for my skin tone. They smell nice too. I enjoy the little coconutty scent that they have. For blush, I have this palette rolled into my deck of panning. Lately, I've been wearing a mix of these two shades. I've been enjoying that. These are matte blushes, but it comes with this gorgeous highlighter that you can just dust over top, and you get the effect of the most lovely glowy blush. I'm not going to put highlighter anywhere else though, because I want to see how this foundation does with my oil production. The eye look is a little bit more on the cool side, so I kind of feel like I need to pop something a little cooler on the apples of the cheeks. So I'm going to pull out my Lancome Shimmer Pink Fling. Okay, so as you can tell, there is a fair amount of luminosity, even just discounting the highlighter that I just put on my cheeks, but through the rest of the face, you can see there's a fair amount of luminosity from this foundation that honestly I did not expect. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of powder through my T-zone. I think I'm gonna use, let's see, what should I use? This is a little travel compact that I have filled with my one size loose powder in Ultra Pink. I'm just gonna use this through the middle of the face, just to bring down the shine a little bit. For lips, I am going to use this little Natasha Denona lip liner in the shade Calla. I've got a spot right on the edge of my lip right there. Kind of an annoying place to get one. And then I'm going to fill that in with the matching lipstick in Calla. I feel like this lip is very pretty, but it's a little too warm for what's going on in my eyes. So one of my favorite go-tos for when my lips are a little too warm is this Buxom lipstick in the shade Rockstar. It is full-on a lilac lipstick. I'm gonna add that to this and see if we can cool it down a little. Okay, I just added a little bit of the Give Me Glow That's So 90s lip liner, which is a little bit more of a cool brown. That works for me. That is the final look. As far as my skin goes, I'm actually really quite liking how my skin is looking right now. It looked a little orange to me at first going on, but I feel like with the rest of my makeup on, I'm looking pretty normal, both on camera and in real life. I think in the future I probably will end up mixing it with a little bit of a blue mixer just to give it a better match, but I actually think it's looking pretty good right now. It didn't get weird when I added powder to it. I think it's actually looking really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and wear this as long as I can. I don't even know what time it is. Yeah, it is 1:45. It actually took quite a while for me to get the kids settled, get the baby settled so that I could have a few minutes for myself. I'm going to shoot for keeping this on for at least 8 hours before I come back and show you how it's looking. Okay, we are back. It is, let's see, what time is it? It is 10:26. So it has been almost 9 hours with this makeup on at this point. Both my hair and my background are even crazier than they were when I started this video, but we're just not going to talk about it. You can also probably hear my baby's swing going in the background, but I think she is about 5 minutes away from waking up and starting her nightly hangout that she has scheduled for us. So let's get this done. I am looking a little bit shiny on camera. However, I think that's the lights because I'm looking in my mirror here, and while I'm looking a little luminous in real life, it is not nearly as shiny as what is appearing on screen. Let me see if we can get a little closer. Okay, you can see me a little more close up. Obviously there's a little bit more luminosity on my skin, so my texture is a little bit more visible, but this is not bad, you guys. I'm really actually quite pleased. I noticed that I am missing a little bit of coverage from the tip of my nose and from around my mouth, and a little bit from my chin, which is pretty much to be expected. There were a lot of baby kisses today, okay? And I ate a couple of meals. I think I had to blow my nose once. Given all of that, I'm actually really quite impressed with how much makeup is left and how graceful the wear off is. I'm not wearing the same lip. This is a lip stain and a lip liner, lip liner stain that I put on after I last saw you. That is mostly gone at this point, but my bronzer is still there. My blush is still there. And I have always kind of felt like I had a complexion that really eats makeup. I lose coverage quickly and a lot of my color cosmetics fade quickly, but I'm not seeing any of that. I know it does look super shiny on camera, but I also did really layer up a lot of very hydrating skin prep before putting this on. So I'm wondering how it would look if I just went in with my normal skincare instead of layering up all of that hydration first. I do think it helped that all that hydration did help it to initially look very lifelike and natural on the skin. I think it might be worth trying this out for another day to see how it looks with more of my normal skin prep rather than the really hydrating stuff that I used today. I do think that the next time I use it, I am going to add my blue mixer in it because I was looking a tiny bit orange. I actually went and asked my husband, I'm like, am I looking a little bit orange? And he like kind of looked at me for a while. He's like, a tiny bit. He's like, I wouldn't have noticed had you not said something. But yes, you are a little more orange than usual. So I don't think it's absolutely 100% necessary. This is a good depth for me, but I do think I will end up mixing just a tiny bit of blue mixer into it the next time I wear it. That's not a con for me. That is pretty much every foundation I own with just a couple of exceptions. So I am going to go ahead and try this out tomorrow with more normal skin prep. I do have some outdoors things planned tomorrow. It's going to be in the 90s, so we'll see how it goes with more normal skin prep, but with maybe a little bit more abuse from the elements, and I will insert that video footage now. This is a few days later. I'm doing a very pared back skincare routine. I'm using my CosRx AHA BHA spray along with a Galactomyces 95 tone balancing essence. And then I'm doing my tranexamic acid serum plus L-ascorbic acid powder duo and my caffeine eye cream. I'm not going in with anything specifically hydrating, and I'm also adding the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer to the center of my face. We are going in with what ends up being a little bit more than one pump, and today I will be mixing this with my Temp2 blue mixer, which is going to desaturate it a little bit and add in some of the green that I need for my cool olive undertone. This brings it much closer to a tone that is appropriate for me. It's a lot less orange on my skin. I don't know if you could really see how orange it was in the video, but this is much closer to my skin tone. Now, the mixing is not ideal for most of you. However, I'm so used to it. I have a pretty unusual undertone, and because of that, with very few exceptions, I mix almost every single day of my life. Well, every day that I'm wearing foundation, I am typically mixing most of my foundations. I was not initially going to go in with the mattifying primer, but I was a little bit out of it this morning, which you can probably tell by the fact that I didn't put on any sunscreen. You're probably wondering, Rebecca, where's the sunscreen? I don't know. I was a little out of it this morning. Now listen, I have combo oily skin, and in the summertime, it just is straight oily. And because of that, this Stay Matte Primer is not going to keep me from getting shiny by the end of the day. That's not what's going to happen. There is no foundation, primer, or powder, or any combination of those three things that's going to keep me from getting oily by the end of the day. I will be shiny no matter what. My goal is for that primer just to give me a little bit more time before things start to get shiny. I am going in with the exact same products over top just to keep things consistent. I am going to be using a different eyeshadow palette, but as far as the other base products, those are all going to be the same. So I'm going in here with the Sephora contour stick, the Sephora Collection contour stick that I used previously. And here I am busting out my Physician Formula bronzers again. I'm just going to mix a couple of those shades. And every time I put this on, I remember how darn good it was. It was so good. Do they still make or sell these butter bronzers? Because they're just lovely. Next, we're going back in with that Pat McGrath palette for the blush. Gosh, it's so stinking pretty. I just love that palette. I am putting on a primer here. I am using the Huda Beauty liquid eyeshadow in the shade, I think, Request Line. And I'm busting out my Pat McGrath Petalmorphosis. Really been enjoying this palette since I received it earlier this year as a gift from my wonderful husband. We're just going to speed through this eye look. Now, in an effort to give this foundation its best shot, I will be setting it with my One Size powder. This is not my most mattifying powder, but it is a pretty decent one. This is going just in the T-zone, where I know I will get shiny first. And that is it. This is our starting point for the day's wear test. Hey you guys, I am filming a quick update for you. I am at a work conference. I do have my little girl with me, so I'm outside because she was fussing a little bit. This is how it's looking in direct sunlight. So I have gotten a little bit shiny, mostly just on the nose, to be honest, and a little bit here on my cheeks. I think I'm actually just gonna go ahead and grab, I have a little powder puff in my pack, and I'm not adding any more product. I'm just going to kind of press that into those areas. I think this is pretty good wear for 5 hours on my oily combo skin, especially in this heat. So far so good. I don't feel like it has gotten shiny on any other areas of my face, just right there in the center. So I'm gonna keep wearing this and we will see how it goes for the rest of the day. So it is 6:30. I am back from my conference. It's been about 9 hours since I put this makeup on and everything is looking really good. I'm looking a little bit shinier. I have not repowdered. I just blotted a little bit during the middle of the day. Everything is looking really good. I seem to have lost a little bit of makeup from this cheek here, this lower part of the cheek, and a little bit here. But everything else is looking really good. At this point, we're going out to dinner with some colleagues, and so I am gonna go ahead and fix a little patch that I have here, and then add some powder. But honestly, I think this held up really, really well. I am very impressed. Okay, you guys, I'm back from dinner. It is almost 10 o'clock. I think it's 9:50 right now. So at this point, this makeup has been on for over 12 hours. This is how everything is looking. I'm starting to look a little luminous again through the middle, but honestly, nothing too bad. It's looking a little shinier on camera than it is translating on real life, which I just think is normal for being in front of artificial lighting. I actually think my base is still looking pretty strong. I've got a little bit of lifting here at the corners of my eyes where my eyes were watering a little bit and I kind of wiped at them a little. But to be honest, the foundation is looking great. I don't know that I have another foundation in my collection that would wear this well on my oily skin this long. You guys saw me blot once and then powder once throughout the day. I think it looks great. I think it looks great, honestly. I am so impressed by this foundation. Generally speaking, when I purchase a foundation, I've done a lot of research on it, and it's unusual for me to miss with a foundation because I've taken my time and really put some research into it. I think I just got lucky with the TirTir. This was kind of an impulse buy. I hadn't really watched a lot of reviews, but it looks fantastic. I did lose some coverage here on this side of my face and a little bit on the tip of my nose, and a little bit around my mouth when we went out to dinner. I think that's pretty normal. It faded very gracefully, I think. If I had to go back out again in the face that I'm in now, I'd like to touch up the lip. The lip is looking a little rough. I maybe could do with a tiny bit of powder through my T-zone, maybe here along the cheeks, but it looks pretty solid. I would not feel bad going back out in this face of makeup as it's looking right now. And for over 12 hours of wear, even on my combo oily skin, even in 90-degree weather, even through this very long day that I've had, this is just really impressive. To this point, my favorite full coverage foundation has been the Natasha Denona Foundation X. I think this may have knocked it out of that top spot. The only negative I could possibly give this foundation is that I don't have a shade match, but that's almost every foundation range. So that's not much of a negative in my book. It's something that I've really learned to live with, and I'm willing to forgive a formulation that is this good. Anyway, you can probably hear my baby is calling me in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and feed her and put her to bed. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope this was helpful to you in some way, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.